Testing, testing, 1, 2, testing, testing. Can y'all hear me? Cool. Alright. Well, for those of y'all that do know me as Rima the Prince, you're probably wondering what in the actual fuck am I doing on Kick and Twitch? Well, long story short, I have a dream, and that dream that I'm trying to pursue at any cost. And what I've realized is you kind of have to say, fuck it. Like, when it comes to doing any of this stuff, whether it's pursuing your dream, talking to that person that you want to talk to, trying to get the right job, whatever it is that you're trying to do, you kind of have to say, fuck it, what do I got to lose? Because if you don't try, you're always going to be wondering, what would have happened if I actually did that? What if I actually went through with it? And that's why I'm here today. For those that don't know me, my name is Rima The Prince. I'm a rapper, singer, and songwriter, also an actor and model. I started my business in 2023 called Rima The Prince Music LLC. You can find me at my website, www.rimatheprincemusic.com. And long story short, I want to make music full time. It's been my dream since I was probably 18 years old when I first started making music for the very first time at the Spot Studios. Shout out to the Spot Studios. And yeah, I mean, there's no way to describe how much music means to me. The love, the therapeutic aspect from writing and creating songs, the ability to touch people and add value to people's lives and make a difference in this world, especially the world that we live in, where I feel like there's a lot of selfishness, there's a lot of violence, there's a lot of just negative energy surrounding our world, sadly. And when I started this company, I just wanted people to take me more seriously as an artist. I wanted them to see what I'm actually doing. And not just as an artist, but as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, trying to create something from nothing. Because why not? And what I realized is that, as I said before, you have to get to a point where you just say, fuck it. What do I got to lose? What have I not tried? How bad do I want this? How much do I want to make this work? Whatever it is. In my case, it's building my brand, Rima the Prince. It's also building my business, creating sources of income to be able to be, sustainable in life, right? So that's a little nutshell of like who I am. But to dive really deep into what makes me me, we're going to fast forward back to when I actually decided to pursue this for real. So a little background about me. I grew up in Charlottesville, Virginia. I then moved to Richmond when I was in high school. And then after high school, I went to Virginia Tech for a year. And then after Virginia Tech, I moved to Colorado, and that's where I resided for about 7 years. And that's where kind of my music career really started when I was 18. I was looking for a studio. I kind of didn't know where I was going in life. I didn't do too well in Virginia Tech, to be honest with y'all. I wouldn't say I failed out, but I did not do as well as I could have. And it was because, one, the social aspect really got to me. I was partying. I was having too much fun. I joined a fraternity, that sort of thing. And then on top of all of that, I just wasn't really into school like I thought I was. It was something that I knew I needed to do, but it wasn't something that was a passion for me. I wasn't trying as much as I wanted to. And during that time, two of my fraternity brothers that I met, shout out to Carter Glotz and also Nick Payne, I was making music with them. We would freestyle together. I mean, we'd do a bunch of different, things. And music just started to become very important to me. But we're going to even fast forward back before I discovered this. Because here's the thing: had I not faced the obstacle of breaking my hip when I was 17, going into senior year of high school, I would have never discovered music. I would have never discovered how much of a dream it was. And I probably wouldn't be here today talking to y'all on Twitch and Kick, which I'm definitely going to get to. So let's back up a little bit just to give you a little more background into how this all came to be. So I was 17. I was playing beach volleyball in Richmond just for fun. And long story short, I broke my hip. I went to kick the ball, I missed, and I landed and did about what's called like a half split, where my left leg bent backwards, my right leg was straight forward. I cleared at least 2.5, 3 feet in the air and just landed on it, and I couldn't move. I looked at my dad, I was like, call the hospital, call an ambulance. I can't move. Found out that later on from my orthopedic surgeon that my femur and my growth plate slid off of each other. So there I am now at 17, getting ready for my senior year of high school, having to prepare for not only soccer, because that was my main sport in high school, but also preparing for college, applying, touring, all of that stuff. Everything got thrown to the side because I was pretty much incapacitated. I was able to, after about a week of being in a wheelchair, I was able to move to crutches, and then from crutches, I could actually at least get around. But while I was sitting in my bed thinking, what the hell am I going to do? One day, my sister comes over and she brings me a ukulele. And I will never forget this day because this was the first time that I really discovered how much music was healing for me and just made life so much better. So I was on pain meds, oxycodone, of course, and my sister brings over a ukulele for me, and she's like, I thought, this would give you something to do during the summer. Hope you feel better. So I start strumming this ukulele, right? One day, because I was on pain meds, I wasn't feeling anything, and I don't know. I looked at it and I was just like, you know what? Let me try it out. I had that fuck it, what do I got to lose mentality, right? So I went, I tried it out, start strumming, and all of a sudden, as I'm strumming the ukulele, I don't even know how to describe it because, I'm trying to remember how I was feeling at 17, which is literally 10 years ago. I guess I wasn't feeling pain, but I felt off, right, from the pain meds. I didn't feel like my usual self. So I don't know if it was I heard a melody or I just was like, you know what, it needs some drums or something along those lines. But anyways, to keep the story going, I pull out my phone and I download this app. I think it was called Looper, but essentially it was a way to create a very simple drum pattern. So as I'm strumming the ukulele, I come up with a simple drum pattern and I just keep it on replay just over and over, and then I just keep strumming the ukulele, trying to find a melody. I found something really simple, and then all of a sudden I just start humming. I don't know what melody I was humming because we're talking over a decade ago, but where I'm going with this is something musically inclined happened in my brain where one thing led to another, which led to another, which led to me writing my very first song ever, which was called Killers, which was essentially about me being on painkillers, hence oxycodone. So after I did that, I was like, wow, this this just feels right. I don't, like I said, I don't know how to describe it, but that was the start of the journey. That was the start of Rima the Prince, when Rima the Prince wasn't even Rima the Prince. It was just me, playing with the ukulele, having fun, writing a song. Now we go back into when I was at Virginia Tech, right? And it was probably one day I was hanging out with these two chicks, and I don't know what they said or what I said, but I ended up hinting at, oh, well, I know how to rap, or I can write a freestyle or something along those lines. And they were like, oh, cool, can you show us? And I was like, yeah, sure, give me a little bit of time and I'll perform something live for y'all. So that day, I like went home, or went to my dorm, and I was showering, and I don't know what the fuck happened, but just all of a sudden these lyrics just started downloading into my brain, and I just turned off the water with soap in my eye and everything, like didn't even care, grab my towel and just run to my dorm room, grab a paper, grab pen, and I just start writing, and it just came out like I wasn't even thinking, like it just, like something took over, so to speak. But obviously nothing took over. It just, that's what it felt like. Like I didn't even have to think. I was just, my hand just kept moving, writing what I needed to say. And I wrote like at least a page worth of lyrics for this like freestyle, and it ended up being the first song that I ever put out, called TYK Part 1, which you can actually find out on SoundCloud at Rima the Prince. So if you want to hear the very, very, very first song that I ever put out, which I will say is really bad, like really bad, but it's a good synopsis or idea behind where I truly started from. So, anyways, I write this freestyle, I go show it to them. They're like, wow, this is really good. Like, have you ever thought of like pursuing music or whatever? And that was the first time I was like, no, I've never thought of pursuing music. Like, that's why I'm here in college. Like, I'm here to get a degree, which at the time I got in as a nanoscience major, but then that didn't really work out. So I transferred to like business and took a bunch of business classes. And so that's what I was pursuing, was I think it was BIT, Business Information Technology. But anyways, that's besides the point. And I don't know, like, yeah, it was nice to hear that I impressed them or whatever, but I think it was more of just like how natural it felt, for me to be able to just spit, not even thinking about, oh, how do I need to sound or whatever. And they were like, wow, you sound pretty good. Like, how long you been doing this? And I was like, not for very long. So then I meet two of my fraternity brothers at Theta Chi, as I was telling y'all, Carter Glotz and Nick Payne, and turns out they were also making music. So I actually, the song that I did called TYK was mixed and mastered by Nick, because I didn't know anything. I didn't even know how it all worked. Like, that was the first time I got to witness, like, okay, this is what it takes to actually make a song from scratch, right? And we put it out and whatever. And I remember there were nights I would go hang out with Carter, and we would just freestyle all night. We'd smoke weed and just freestyle all fucking night, just chopping it up together. And it was really a lot of fun. But it wasn't until I moved from Blacksburg, Virginia, which is where Virginia Tech was at, to Colorado in 2017, July of 2017. And I moved with my dad, and that's where we were staying with my brother before we moved into our apartment. And I was so lost at that time. But the only thing that I kept doing over and over was I just kept writing. I just kept writing. I kept writing. I kept writing. I kept writing. And all of a sudden, all that writing ended up turning into what was called Foreign Invasion EP, which was my first ever project I put out, which is also on SoundCloud if y'all want to hear it. It's pretty good for the most part. You know, it's decent, but you can tell like I hadn't learned exactly how to freestyle or how to rhyme essentially properly. You know, it would be kind of choppy where I'd have these good flows and then it would kind of just like veer off the road, so to speak. So anyways, that is when I like started actually making music. And after I written all these songs, I was like, you know, I want to record this. Like I had so much fun recording with Nick when he and I did that song together that I was like, I want to record this. So I think I went on Instagram and I like looked up studios, you know, studios in Colorado, right? And I found this one studio. I went and toured it. They were, you know, the guy was cool. I don't remember the name of the studio, to be honest with you, but I think it was in like downtown Denver, I want to say. And I asked him, I was like, hey, you know, I would like to just hear how I sound in the booth. Are you cool with me like spitting for like 3 or 4 minutes just to see? He didn't want to do it, so I was like, okay, no worries. I appreciate it. And you know, that was kind of a turnoff for me. I wanted to see if he was at least willing to work with me. So then I discover, I think it was an ad, I want to say, on Instagram, the Spot Studios. And I reach out to Glenn and I say, hey, Glenn, I would like to do a tour for your studio. Do you care if when are you free? That sort of thing. So I do the tour with Glenn, super cool guy. I meet his co-owner, which was Rich, and you know I was like, these guys are really cool. I like their vibe. I feel comfortable with them, and so at the end of the tour, I look at Glenn and I say, hey, would you be okay with me going down to the booth and just trying out your microphone for like 2 or 3 minutes? And he was like, yeah, why not? That's not a problem. I was like, really? I was like, yeah, go ahead. I'll get it set up for you. So he goes, gets it all set up for me, and I can't remember what I think I just talk or something, but I do something, whether it's singing, rapping, that sort of thing. We record, and then I get to hear like my voice with the mic, and that was the first time where I was like, wow, I actually sound pretty good. Like for a long time I couldn't stand how my voice sounded, and that was the first time that like I actually got to hear. I mean, obviously I got to hear with Nick when I did that song with Nick, but it wasn't the same. Like, when you record in a studio, it's there's so much equipment that goes into making music that people don't understand. There's a ton of money in actually building a studio from scratch. So where I'm going with this is I get to hear my voice, I feel inspired, and I'm like, you know what, Glenn, I want to do business with you. When can I start? When can we set up some sessions? So we come up with a schedule, set up some sessions, and that's when things forever changed. I mean, when we worked on Foreign Invasion, I can't describe to y'all how happy I was in the booth. I mean, if you ever get a chance to meet Glenn, obviously I try to keep him kind of behind the scenes because he's already told me, he's like, dude, I don't want to be, in front of everyone. I just want to be behind the scenes, make music, help you win some Grammys together, and, go from there. And I was like, I totally understand. But I do have to pay respect to Glenn and Rich for believing in me, because they are part of the reason why I am where I am today, just musically. I mean, the tips they gave me when it came to singing or rapping or what to work on. And each time I came back with new projects and new songs to work on, they were just like, holy fuck, dude, like you really want this. And one day, I remember this, Glenn told me this, and even Rich probably said it too. They were like, you were born to make music. This is what God, Allah, the universe, whatever you want to call it, This is your true gift, and you need to pursue it at all costs. And I think they told me this probably like 2 or 3 years ago, right? So this whole time, I go to School of Mines, Colorado School of Mines. Shout out to Colorado School of Mines. After Virginia Tech, I get my mechanical engineering degree with a computer science minor. So, I'm thankful that I had the opportunity to go to college, unlike some. Not everyone has that opportunity, and I totally understand. The reason I'm telling you this is because during this time, I continue to make music, continue to promote myself, continue to put stuff out on Spotify, Apple Music, Pandora, whatever. Finally, in May of 2022, I graduate from School of Mines with my bachelor's degree. And in November of 2022, I get my first ever corporate job. And I worked for this company for about a year, year and a half. Now, I'm not going to talk ill of this company because I think also my situation in general was just that I had a tough time working for someone else. I always saw myself as a leader, as the head honcho in charge, kind of just this very CEO, business owner, entrepreneur like mentality. And bringing that into corporate America, especially engineering, you're going to face adversities. You're going to face challenges. People are not going to be very responsive to this type of mentality, so to speak. So, and here's the other thing. Like, while I was working for that company, I just, I was not focused. All I could think about was music. I mean, that whole time I was writing songs, working on lyrics, freestyling every day. Melodies were coming to my head. I was recording them. Some of the songs that I'm putting out right now, like Modern War and Can't Stop, those were songs that, like, during my lunch break, I just came up with on the spot while I was working in my corporate job. And in March 2024, I told them, look, I can't do this anymore. Like, this is just not me. This is not what I envisioned for myself. And I quit. I said, you know what? Screw the money, screw all of this. Like, I want to make music. This is what I've wanted since I was 18. I've done everything everyone else wants me to do. I got my degree to have some sort of backup plan, but at the end of the day, this is what I want to be doing. And so I quit. I decided to try and find some other jobs. I worked for a DJ company. Same thing, I got to a point where I wanted to be more of a leadership or help with the ownership. My boss at the time was not comfortable with that, so I said, respectfully, I'm going to have to quit because I just, I want to be, I want to build something with somebody. And then I also worked at a gym, and then same thing, just it wasn't a good fit. So, long story short, where I'm going with this is on December 20th of 2024, I told myself, because I was talking to one of my best friends, and I was like, look, I've done everything. I've tried working for someone else. I've tried doing the DJing. I've tried working in, a gym. I've tried everything that I enjoy doing, but nothing is working. And he was like, well, why don't you come to the East Coast for a little bit? Why don't you come stay with me? Stay with your other best friend or our other best friend. Why don't you come stay with us and, work on really making this actually happen? And I was like, you know what? That's a great idea. So on December 20th, I drove, well, technically December 17th, I would say, or 18th. I drove from Colorado all the way to Virginia in 2 days. It was probably about a 24-hour trip. And, I mean, a lot of people were like, yo, this is crazy. Like, what are you thinking? And I wasn't thinking. I was just doing. I was just keep going, keep going, keep going. Let's make this happen. And so since December 20th, there's a reason why I'm telling you all this. Since December 20th of 2024, I have been living out of my car on the East Coast, staying with family and friends, essentially relying on all the people that love me and care about me to pursue my dream of building a business and making music. And that is why I'm here today talking to you all on Twitch and Kick, because I've hit a point where not just I have to make this work, I want to make this work. I want to show anyone who has a dream, anyone who has a belief, anyone who has the drive to make something a reality, that even when you're facing all adversity, when everyone's telling you, what the fuck are you doing? You're wasting your life away. Like, what are you thinking? To quiet all that noise and just continue doing you. Because if you don't, it's going to be the biggest regret of your life. And that's why I wanted to do this to start this streaming, because not only am I going to probably stream every day because I'm this determined to make it happen and showcase everything that I'm doing when it comes to reaching out to clients, brand outreach, when it comes to for example, learning how to actually create ads and market to the right audience, or making money from my modeling, so like applying for gigs and actually how to apply, submitting to sync agencies, what do you write to pitches, all of that stuff. I mean, literally documenting everything from start to finish of how I'm going to grow this into a success and create an income. Because I will. One way or another, I'm going to make it happen. Because I can't give up. I was just talking on the phone to a potential job offer. Well, not potential. They did give me a job offer. But what I told them was, look, I have not put in every ounce of effort to actually make this successful. I have not tried every opportunity to actually make this happen. That's why I'm on Twitch and Kick, because if I can create some form of income just from streaming alone, talking about my life and showcasing what I do day to day, then that's an opportunity wasted that I don't even know if it's possible or not. So I have to try it, right? And that's why I'm here today, is because I have to try. Because I've also faced the reality, if it doesn't work out right now, maybe I am on the path that Russ was on, right? It took him 10 years before he finally blew up, and his song, What They Want, put him on that stardom, that level where everyone knew about him, right? It might take me 10 years. And if that's the case, well, one, I'm not going to have the money to support me to sustain myself for 10 years. I'll be better off living on the street. So I don't want to do that. And two, I have to face the reality that I'm 27 and I kind of have to get my shit together and build some sort of foundation. So that's why I've given myself until October 12th. I will be making a final decision whether I can continue pursuing this full time, or if I'm going to have to kind of table it, get a job on the side, and still continue pursuing my music, but just knowing that I'm playing the very long game. And that's the great thing about this, is I've accepted, if that happens, at least I will walk away from it knowing that I did everything I possibly could to actually make this work. That I did everything in my power to actually get some sort of income, to create some sort of vision, to start a profitable business, right? I did everything. And if it doesn't work, it's okay. But the difference is, I want to make this happen. I'm determined to make this happen. It's 6/18/2025, June 18th, 2025. October 12th is essentially 4 months from now. if I can actually make this happen in 4 months, not only will it go to show anyone who's pursuing a business or entrepreneur or anything in life that if you truly put your mind, body, and soul into it, you can actually achieve it and make it possible. Because that's the key. That's the true key. How bad do you want it? Do you want it so bad that you breathe it every day? You wake up and you're like, I got shit to do. I got to make this happen. And that's where I'm at. How bad do I really want it? Do I really want to make this work, or am I just all talk? And that's what I need to not only see for myself, but everyone else is going to see. Is Rima really all talk, or is he actually serious about making this a reality? And that's why I'm on Twitch. That's why I'm on Kick. Because in my head, I'm like, maybe people will be interested in hearing me talk or inspiring them or watching day-to-day operations as far as running a business and what it takes and how you reach out to clients and documenting all of it from start to finish. Because, like I said, fuck it. What do I have to lose? I have nothing to lose except time. But time is of the essence. If I don't utilize this time to actually make something happen, then I will never know. And that's why I can already say, if this doesn't work out, doesn't mean I give up on music. Doesn't mean I give up on building a business. It just means I need to prioritize what I need to prioritize, which is having a steady income, having the ability to live somewhere comfortably. Right now, I'm in my aunt and uncle's basement doing this live stream with y'all. So when I say I'm living out of my car, I am literally living out of my car. And I'm not saying this to, like, make y'all feel bad for me, because I don't want anyone to feel bad for me. This is the choice that I made. I chose to make this decision. I chose to leave living in Colorado and move essentially to the East Coast. But I want people to understand, when I say I want this so bad, that I want to make this happen so bad, this is my way of showing it. Living out of my car, staying with friends and family, pursuing this full time, knowing that I have not made a single penny since December 20th of 2024. But it's okay. Because whatever happens, I know I'm going to learn from this. I know I'm going to achieve something or go farther than I ever could imagine before. And at the end of the day, I don't want to have regrets. I don't want to be one day on my deathbed, done everything I can do in my life, and realize the one thing I wish I had done is done this, pursued this, made this a reality, to actually create a sustainable life, not just as a musical artist, but as a business owner with no capital, right? That's the other thing. I have no capital whatsoever. The only capital that I'm going to be putting in is advertisements and a couple subscriptions to get the word out of who I am and the services I offer. That's it. If none of that brings any revenue, it's okay. I know I can find a job. And if I have to find a job, at least I will go into it knowing I did the best that I could, and I need to table this business for now and get my life a little more in order, and then step back into it. Pursue it on the side. Maybe I'm only doing it a couple hours. Maybe I'm not doing it as much as I was doing it before, but I still will continue to do it. And that's okay. So, I guess what I'm trying to say is part of what makes Rima the Prince, is the brand of inspiration. And for the longest time, I couldn't think. I was like, what is my brand? Is my brand this? Is it to make you think? Is it that? Or whatever? But honestly, really, when you think of Rima the Prince, the one word I want you to think of is inspiring. Because everyone I've watched, every book I've read, every person that has told how they reached their level of success has a story like this. Everyone doubted them. They didn't know where they were going. They had no money. They were living on their friends' couches or whatever it may be. And they turned it into something. But I think that's really what it takes. You have to almost, it's kind of crazy, but you have to put yourself in such an uncomfortable position to actually want it as bad as you do. And given the situation I'm in, like, I technically have nowhere to live. If my aunt and uncle were to kick me out for some reason, I would have to go stay with my best friends or go stay with my mom. But, like, there's no one I could actually go stay with for a long period of time doing this without showing some sort of initiative, without showing some sort of income, without showing something. So I have to make this work because there's a lot of people counting on me. There's a lot of people that want to see me actually make this happen. And I want to do it not just to do it, but to inspire. One of my best friends right now, he's pursuing a videography and photography business. And he doesn't know how he's going to continue getting clients. I mean, he's continuing to do it every day. But there's a part in the back of his head that's like, is this actually going to happen? Can I actually make this work? And I almost want to be that blueprint for him, that extra inspiration to be like, you know what? If Rima can do it, why can't I? He made it happen. And look at his situation. He wasn't making any money at all. And he still made it work. Like, that's the brand of Rima the Prince. Inspiration. Yeah, it's going to make you think. Yeah, it's going to be fun to listen to. Yeah, it's going to be political or whatever. I mean, these are all subcategories. But the true reason behind my music, behind my brand, behind me as a person is to inspire. Because all of these great people that I've read about and watched, for example, Jordan Peterson, Robert Kiyosaki, Luke Belmar, just tons of entrepreneurs. They've all said the same thing. How bad do you really want it? How bad do you want it to achieve it? Joe Dispenza, another great, great book that he wrote called Becoming Supernatural. He talks about how the brain is so powerful. Well, why is the brain so powerful? Because when you believe something, you actually achieve it. Muhammad Ali, one of the greatest boxers in the world, hands down, he said, if my mind can conceive it and my heart can believe it, then I can achieve it. My whole life I've been inspired by so many different people, whether it was family and friends, artists I've looked up to, boxers, athletes of any kind, all these successful people. If you really listen to what they're saying, they're all inspiring. Why? Because they all have been in the same position that I was in, where they couldn't see themselves going anywhere. They had no glimpse of hope. And they were probably delusional too. And a lot of people told me I'm delusional. But the one thing they definitely can say about me is I'm dedicated to my craft. I'm dedicated to making this work. And I'm going to figure it out one way or another. Whether this Twitch thing works, yay or nay, does not matter. Because at the end of the day, I have to try everything. And I mean everything. Because if I don't, I'm always going to have that thought in the back of my head. What if? Could I have actually made this a reality? So, that's why I'm here today. I'm here to inspire. And anyone who wants to follow my journey, I greatly appreciate it. And if you choose not to, no big deal. Because I know I will figure it out one way or another. It may not be my time right now. It may not be until 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 15 years down the line. One day I know my music will be where I want it to be. But it may take time. But the difference is I have to try. I have to put in all my eggs into this one basket and try to make it work. Because I don't want to have regrets. And yeah, that was a little insight into who I am in a nutshell. Also, I most likely will be trying every Friday to do my live stream freestyles on Twitch and Kick. And I'll probably post them on my social media, of course. You know, you can definitely follow me on all social medias: TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, and YouTube. All just Rima the Prince. Just look up RIMA space THE space Prince, and you'll find me on all social media. Or just Google me. I mean, if you Google me, you could find everything on Rima the Prince. So I also have a website, so you can check that out too. But anyways, where I'm going with this is I didn't know what I was doing. I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't even know if right now this is even worth my time. But I'd rather look back and be like, at least you tried. At least you tried to make this work. At least you tried to create something. Instead of just, well, looks like I can't figure it out. I give up. No. Giving up's not an option until you've tried all your resources, until you've used every single opportunity to your disposal. And once you've done all that, and you've gotten nowhere, that's where you have to face facts and be like, look, it's not my time right now. Doesn't mean I give up. It just means I need to pivot. I need to switch my lanes a little bit. I need to focus on something else for the time being, and then come back to it. Because maybe it's not right now. Maybe it's not supposed to happen right now. But I won't know until I try. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try. I wish you all the best. Feel free to reach out to me. Yeah. And thanks for tuning in. And we'll see what happens. Take care and stay royal.